To let them grow or to not let them grow? That is the question. Hey guys, welcome back to another garden episode. I have no idea what week we're on, so again, I'll put it here. Sorry. It's kind of amazing what happens within a week. It's really amazing the amount of weeds that grow, but also the plants. So not a whole lot has really changed though as far as what's in the ground. I am really close to hardening off all the summer stuff. Today they're going to spend the entire day for the second time. This is their second time getting 16 hours of sunlight, and they're also going to spend a portion of the night because we will never get to 60 degrees on average at night, ever. It's not going to happen. We may hit it once or twice, but most of our nights are going to be in the low to mid 50s for the rest of the season, and that's till fall. So these plants have to get used to that. So not only do I have to harden them off to the sun, I also have to harden them off to the cold. Or at least should, or I'm going to try to the best of my ability. We'll see how it works out. But let's take a quick tour. We don't actually have to go inside again today. Today's just a garden outside tour. Yay! So let's take a look. We'll start with the tomatoes. Okay, so Tomito, Vernisausage 1, Vernisausage 2, Chocolate Cherry is one of the ones that I let flower because, well, he's big enough. Here's the Sun Gold. Like I said, he's still got some problems, clearly, but his new growth is looking pretty darn good. And I'm going to let them flower too, because if I don't let them flower, they'll never give me tomatoes. This is the Blue Cream. He is obviously turned green again and is no longer blue, so that's a plus. Got a lot of new growth. A lot of my tomato plants wide. They split, and you can't tell which one's a sucker and which one's not. Let's take a look at this guy. I think, yeah, that's clearly a sucker right there. But he, at this point, is so big. To let them grow or to not let them grow? That is the question. I think I'll cut that one off later. And then that is the Black Seaman. He will look like that the entire season. So expect no change from him at all whatsoever. Okay, so tomatoes. They're doing okay. They look a little greener than they had before, that's for sure. And they're not as curly. So that's good. Some of them still look awful, like the Wagner Blue Green and the Pink Oxheart and the Sun Gold, of course. They still look like shit, to be blatantly honest. They look like shit. But all in all, they're doing okay. They got some suckers on them still. I let a couple of them keep their flowers because really they're tall enough. But I think they're finally going to start looking alive. That would be truly nice. Valkyrie asters are starting to pep up quite a bit. Truly look like flowers, plants at this point. They look quite happy. The pansies are doing great. You know, I don't know when bee balm starts to flower. I would be quite curious to find out because they're growing big, but I see nothing of flowers on there. So less all the weeds, we actually have some edamame poking up in here, believe it or not. Like, I can't really see if my finger's pointing at it properly on the screen, but in here is an edamame. That is an edamame. There's another one there. We're missing some didn't take to the seeding, so I'll have to reseed it again, and plus I have to finish, so all in due time. So as you can see, the onions are doing really well. Even the ones that tipped over, they bounced back pretty good. And they're actually all quite gorgeous looking and really tasty. pretty potent little guys, even the bunching onions. I pulled a whole stalk of bunching onions yesterday, actually. And they were quite delicious, so I do like me some onions. The Jump Up Johnnies I have found in the yard in various locations, which is pretty interesting. Often, like, we're on an 1.5 acre lot and they're behind the house. You know, very far away from the 2 pots I had them in, because I had them in the garden last year, but had them in pots, so. What's not doing well is the eggplant, as you can see. So when I finish hardening off the other eggplants, I will replace this one, along with a couple other plants. Alright, Tessa's Landrace Currant is back to being a very healthy plant. Well, very healthy with some minor imperfections, but I am happy with it nonetheless. Got some suckers on here. Looks like it's starting to flower. It's not quite to the trellis yet, though, so I might make it stop, because I want it to grow just a little bit more before it starts to flower. Here's the pink oxheart. I guess he's not as curly as he was when I initially planted him or when he was inside. Just sad and droopy, but all in all, he's alright. Up next is the West Pecan Peach. Looking much better than he was, that's for sure. Barry's Crazy Cherry is looking pretty good. The Sweetie Tomato is also looking really good. Look at these new foliage, is quite happy. I'm going to let the flowers that are on there stay. The Japanese Black Trifle, much like the Black Seaman, is I think just going to be a floppy tomato. The Wagner Blue Green, like I said, is still very sad. Not much I can do about that at this point, just hope he bounces back. I mean, he is better looking than what he was, I suppose. And then the Subarctic Plenty, also looking pretty darn good, given what it was. So the garlics are doing pretty good, the store-bought ones, that is. They're actually getting decent size as far as largeness goes, but they're starting to get more and more leaves that die off. I will harvest them when I've got about 3 to 4 dead leaves on the bottom, because that's 3 to 4 layers around the garlic that I want to protect them. So as for the garlics from M.I. Gardener, they are really doing good as well. These are the German Extra Hardies, and they are just so thick. It's kind of crazy. I know that they're going to be big bulbs, not quite like elephant garlic size, but relatively big next to the elephant garlic, and definitely bigger than your standard average garlic. So I'm pretty excited about these ones. But all sets of them are doing amazingly well. These ones obviously have no dead leaves around them, and I don't know why those ones are progressing so much faster than these ones are as far as getting ready to harvest and pull. I'm going to dig back one of their bulbs and see if they actually are bulbing down there. Well, they are bulbing, but they're tiny. Although, I will have to say I don't expect much from grocery store garlic. So let's take a look. I'll bring you in closer. Look at that teeny tiny bulb on there. I'd once heard someone say that the thickness of their stalk is apparent to the size of their bulb. So if you plant a really dinky little itty bitty baby guy, it'll give a tiny stalk and it'll give a tiny bulb, which I don't see why that wouldn't be accurate, but definitely tiny. And you know, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the grocery store garlics totally are tiny and stunty and just little itty bitty baby guys. Wouldn't surprise me one bit, but we'll keep an eye on them and see how they're faring. Unless they're soft neck. Really wish I knew what they were. This one's pretty good. As far as size, I should have dug it up. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's a pretty decent size. That's, you know, compared to its stock is what I mean. Not in general. So here in Montana, we actually have voles. And mice, of course, field mice. It's pretty common. We got a couple vole hills in the garden from where they dig underneath the fence. I haven't actually seen one yet, but there is totally something over there munching on some grass, and I can't tell if it's inside or outside the fence. But I did see a field mouse run over from the neighbor's yard into the rhubarb. I'm not afraid of mice, and I don't really care if they come into my garden. They don't bother me none. A lot of the raised beds they won't get into because they won't expose themselves to the open area. But I can definitely see where the rhubarb would be a good hiding spot for them. And the rhubarb's not mine. So if they start to eat something, then we'll have to do something. If they start to destroy the garden, then I'll have to do something about them, which hopefully is just catch them and relocate them. I saw one out on the porch the other day, and he scurried towards the garage, and I was yelling at it not to go that way because it will die. Those cats will catch it, especially our three-legged hero. He's deceivingly quick. But anyways, I digress. I guess we'll get back to the garden tour. The noise seemed to have scurried off. Okay, so the carrots are alright. I mean, they're piddly. Stupid carrots. The beets are growing as slow as ever. So that's round 1 in this bed. And round 2, which is bigger and healthier than round 1. Why? Not a clue. And some flowers that aren't flowering. The strawberries have gone to town. Oh my goodness, they've just went wild all of a sudden. It's pretty cool how quickly strawberries will grow. And of course the Jump Up Johnnies. So the radishes have depleted pretty quickly. They don't last long and they never will. The Irish Eyes was a mix between the reds, pinks, and whites, and I only got 1 pink and no whites. But the red ones were tasting alright. The Cherry Bells and the early Globes were perfectly fine. Some of them did split, and we are starting to see some bugs in them, even though it's not the hottest part of the year, which is kind of depressing. I think that last year when they came, they realized that this is a place to grow radishes and root vegetables in general. And I really hope they don't eat my beets or what little carrots I have. But what is this? The golden sweet pea is actually doing really, really well. I don't know what else to say about it. It's trellising and it's making me really happy. The snap pea is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it foliage-wise. It just seems to be growing really, really slow. And then, of course, the dragon tongue bean is starting. It's got 2 big leaves and some baby ones popping off. The Scarlet Emperor bean is doing really good. He's much bigger. Got, again, a couple more leaves on him, but not a whole lot. Hopefully we will see this side just riddled with peas and beans, and it'll be awesome. And of course I'll keep the radishes Success and Showed in here, except for in July, which is truly the hottest part of the year. Because I ain't feeding no bugs, and I don't want to pull a radish out thinking I'm going to get a nice tasty radish, and instead I get maggots, because that's just not okay with me. And then the second round of radishes are starting to pop up. Not so much greatness to show you there. I am really excited about this broccoli. Like, I've never grown broccoli before, and I've never grown something so well, I guess. Besides, well, tomatoes did really good for me last year, but I didn't think that I would be good at broccoli, and especially when I stuck it out here and I really thought it was going to be stunted for most of the season. But no, it's going to town. It's got big, huge leaves, bigger than my hands on almost all of them. I don't know when it's going to start giving me broccoli, though. Maybe that'll be the problem I have with it, is it'll grow big, huge leaves, but it'll never actually give me a head of broccoli. I could see that. I could totally see that. So this side of the bed is looking pretty sad. Again, the squashes are going to go here. 2 of the 3 peppers are also going to go on this bed. The other one's going to go at the end of the edamame run. The blue-curled Scottish kale is doing us very well. Not that you can see it, but we have pulled off quite a few leaves from him. He's pretty tasty. My husband actually thought he was like a butter crunch, because he tastes a little buttery, but no. The scarlet kale is acting exactly like it did last year once I transplanted it, which is do nothing for a really long time, and then it shot up to be that palm tree we had last year. The celery, it stopped growing thick stalks and started giving me a bunch of little babies, which I'm honestly okay with. This pepper plant is gonna go and be replaced because it's not doing anything at all. So yeah, hopefully by the time you guys see the garden next, it'll be fuller. I should have the gherkin and the jelly melon and the lemon cucumbers on this post here, or on this trellis. I should have the 2 squashes in, all of the peppers. Well, let's go take a look at them actually. Okay, so the squash plants are doing really good. You can see the Mexican gherkin here. Not an African daisy, clearly an opal basil. What is this one? Oh, honeydew. He's starting to trellis, which I didn't know honeydews were going to trellis, but you know, whatever. The banana peppers are fine. This is the white curled, or white scallop squash. He's got a couple of sad leaves, but all in all, he's fine. There's the kiku melon back there, or no, the jelly melon back there on that stick. Here's some of the new acorns. They're doing fine. The squash is starting to give off female flowers, and it's doing fine. Yeah, they're all just doing good. They're ready to go outside. They just don't know it yet. So yeah, that is it for this episode, and I will see you guys on the next one. So till next time, bye!